And they're the two different paths that we need to take in order to go higher. Unless on Friday, the crypto summit, it's announced that the US is allocating tens of billions of dollars to Bitcoin, I don't think we go higher.
I agree.
That's kind of the bar. Like the bar is, are we getting more details over the next 7 days that the US is going to be allocating tens of billions of dollars? If the crypto strategic reserve turns out to be 500 million, we're back in the 80s pretty quickly.
This episode is brought to you by Kraken OTC. Get access to 24/7 trading services for high net worth individuals and institutional clients to execute orders over $50,000. You'll hear more about them later in the show.
All right, guys, welcome back to another 1000X pod. This has been a freaking whirlwind. Like, my God, Jonah, just literally, like the Bitcoin chart is just like the weekly chart is just insanity right now. It's crazy.
Whipsaw.
The total whipsaw. I mean, basically, 4 straight days of down, and then a pause, and then a fifth day where it nukes 10% in a day, basically. And then now we're up 15%. I mean, I guess from the low to where we are here, 19% from the low to where we are. I mean, this is just nuts. And we're still at 93. Like, we haven't even, like, we're not back into the previous range. So nobody can say, oh man, like the chart looks really amazing right now. I mean, this is just madness.
What is going on here?
Fun. I mean, you know, like I was saying on the pod last week, it's very rare to see Bitcoin go sideways and not break down, like at the highs. I think I've said that 150 times in 150 different ways. Like, Bitcoin doesn't go sideways at the highs and then not have a sell-off. What I was not necessarily expecting was a sell-off that was, you know, a 20% straight down for 4 days. I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit more choppy. So that was interesting. I got bullish, you know, mid to low 80s, and then we got that one final flush down to 78, which I think actually was very good for Bitcoin. It got a lot of the weak hands out, right? I think there were a ton of people that were sort of waiting for that sub 80 level to step in and buy. And you got a tremendous amount of volume into that level. And then it reversed so quickly that basically sellers, there were a tremendous amount of sellers that sold to passive bids, but nobody that was like actively waiting for that level had the time to get in. And all of these sellers very likely are guys that just panicked and still want to own Bitcoin. They're just like, oh man, I don't want to hold this thing if it goes down to, you know, like the 60s. Like, I don't want to lose any more money. I've lost so much money. So I actually think this is like we've set ourselves up really nicely, even just from a technical perspective. And that's not even talking about the news that just came out, this crypto strategic reserve that our president has announced. I mean, what's going on there?
Our fearless leader. A couple of points on what you just said. So I haven't touched my book throughout the entirety of this sell-off. I'm just sitting on the sidelines, like tweeting less, you know, panicking a little bit, but not really, because I don't really expect this thing to break down. None of this was in my bingo card, Avi. I was expecting the market to just keep steadily kind of grinding higher as you get more and more passive buying because the regulatory and, you know, picture looks better. So this wasn't really something that I wanted to trade into. At one point I was fully allocated to crypto, but now I have dry powder. So I'm not going to sell this, obviously. I'm more just sitting and waiting for, like, when should I buy? And I don't like catching falling knives. I don't think this crypto news is really going to, you know, herald the beginning of a new bull market where it's up only for another 6 months. Like, no, I think this is probably going to get sold into for a bit. Then it'll probably bottom out. And then I think we keep rallying. Now, there is a crypto summit coming on March 7th, which is, what day is that? March 7th is going to be.
I'm of the opinion that this
Friday.
crypto summit is sort of similar to all of the other catalysts around Trump. So when he went on to talk, at the Bitcoin conference, we had a big rally into that, and then a sell off after. I mean, a lot of people are very excited about this idea of this strategic reserve. And I do have to say, I mean, it's big news. And it's really big news for Solana, XRP, and Cardano, because those were directly mentioned by Trump. I mean, Cardano being mentioned is insane.
Well, I mean, it's not that insane. Like, here's my hot take on that. Crypto Twitter has its hair on fire over this Cardano thing. I think if you just go to CoinGecko and look at the top non-stable coins, you've got Bitcoin, check. Ethereum, check. XRP, love it or hate it, vaporware or not vaporware. This friggin' coin's worth almost $300 billion. So check. Stable coin, Tether. Then you've got BNB, can't include that because it's China coin. Trump doesn't like China. Then you've got Solana, check. USDC, Cardano, 50 billion, check. And then it's like Doge, Lido staked Ether, Tron, and a bunch of other garbage. So like, honestly, let me just steel man this.
Okay.
It's the top coins except for the China coin. What am I missing?
I don't think you're necessarily missing anything, but I do think that if the government is going to be buying crypto, should probably concentrate on the things that are actually useful and have actual potential. I don't know. Like this is like a weird argument for me to be having, right? Because like just take a step back for a second. Why would the government want to buy useless vaporware assets that don't have any real users or real future or real value behind it? Like did they do zero homework?
I obviously agree with you, Avi. I think I was trying to steel man the other side. Like Cardano is everything that would make both of us want to leave crypto if that's what crypto becomes.
I mean, the logic effectively is if we go with your steelman argument, you just buy the top 5 cryptos. The logic is effectively all of these things are basically the same. They're all shit and they're all scams. And so let's just buy the top 5 because there's zero differentiation between these things. And there's no way to pick what's good and what's bad. So let's just go for the top 5.
Yeah. I mean, look, if Trump wanted to message this properly, he'd say, we're going to create a strategic crypto reserve. It's going to be mostly Bitcoin. We're going to put a bit of ETH and Solana in there because they have traction. And then we're going to include XRP. I'm just saying if he wants to include Cardano and XRP, you'd say, we're also going to put, XRP and Cardano in there because their market caps are high, right? Like, and they've survived a couple cycles. If he wanted to message it to crypto Twitter, if he wanted to message it to the American public, he could just leave names out and say, we're going to create a strategic crypto reserve because, this asset class is around to stay, rather than pretending we can make it go away or pretend that it's going to go away by itself. We may as well have some skin in the game and participate if it continues to, proliferate. Obviously, whoever's running Trump's crypto PR campaign feels like it's like David. I listen to the All In podcast from time to time. David Sachs is a smart guy. It feels like he's not nearly stupid enough to be like messaging this. It feels like it's Barron Trump in charge, right? Like somebody without some C- Nepo baby is doing this shit. This is not smart the way that they're talking about it. And it's obviously pissing off crypto. People, Brian Armstrong tweeted that it would be better just to have Bitcoin in the strategic crypto reserve. And what's the point of any of this other stuff being in there? I agree with him. I think that, if you're trying to save taxpayer dollars by like cutting USAID, cutting NIH funding, all this other stuff, because we're supposedly, going bankrupt, which, generally I kind of agree with the Doge efficiency thing. It then is hard to, in the same week come out and say we're going to use taxpayer dollars to buy Cardano. Obviously, that argument has been beaten to death on Twitter. Like everybody knows that this is stupid. I guess just like back to what it means for crypto, though, talking about like we're basically back at the bottom of the range that we've been in since the election, right? Since the election price action, it's basically been like 90 bid at 105, and we're trading 92 and a half in Bitcoin. So I'm really watching closely to see if we just drift back up to the center of the range. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we probably like leak back below, because this is almost like bearish for crypto in a way.
You know what's really leaked back below, by the way? ETH is just cooked.
ETH
20 yeah, I mean trading at 24.30 is disgusting.
This episode is brought to you by Kraken OTC, one of crypto's longest running exchanges with over a decade of experience. With Kraken OTC, high net worth individuals and institutional clients get white glove 24/7 trading services for orders over $50,000. You can trade over chat or even access Kraken's self-service automated trading feature to receive executable quotes in seconds. With access to Kraken's fully personalized service, you can guarantee a secure trading experience with deep liquidity and competitive execution. To get in touch, click the link in the show notes or head on over to kraken.com/blockworks. Availability of products may vary by jurisdiction. See legal disclosures for each jurisdiction at kraken.com/legal/disclosures. Crypto trading involves risk of loss and is offered to customers through Payward Interactive. Today's episode is brought to you by CryptoTax Calculator. Make tax season stress-free with over 3,000 integrations to support all of your wallets, exchanges, and on-chain activity. Simplify your crypto taxes by creating an account, importing your wallets and exchanges, then simply review and download your tax report. By using our exclusive discount code BW2025, you can enjoy 30% off all paid plans. This deal expires on the 15th of April. So make sure you hit the link in the show notes to get accurate crypto taxes with no guesswork. Thanks to CryptoTax Calculator for making today's episode possible.
Yeah, I'm not going to be back in ETH for a while, Avi. I think
I think at this point, if ever, actually, I took a few stabs. I mean, one of my theses was, let me try to get long alts, short BTC, and that actually worked like reasonably well. A lot of these alts bottomed out against Bitcoin, like especially some of the I was heavy on the AI coins like ARK and Virtuals, AI16Z, AI XBT. These things actually bottomed out really nicely against Bitcoin over the last week. I took a decent sized position in Sol as well against BTC, and then part of the book was ETH BTC, which I had to cut. Basically,
dude, that ETH BTC is a random number generator. What is going on?
Dude, I basically had to cut it. I kept every other position, but I cut it 24 hours after I put it on the trade because even on the bounce, it just could not do anything, and it's amazing how few people there are left to go buy this thing. I mean, I really thought sellers had run out, and I might have been right, but what I was completely wrong about is that there's just zero buyers for this asset anymore.
Oh, and there's sellers.
And in ETH,
there are
Denver,
major sellers. Yeah. The ETH Foundation, everybody who got into crypto in 2021 and hasn't really checked their portfolio until now. Like ETH is just offered all the time. It trades so heavy.
One point that I'll say on Cardano is that it's actually held by the most random people, and what maybe they're trying to approximate is just your average they want to make your average person and that owns crypto rich, and they're just a lot of Americans own Cardano. I mean, today I actually was talking to somebody who was like, you're into this crypto thing, right? I have some of this Bitcoin and Cardano that I've held for 4 years now. What do you think I should do with it? And I'm like, you should definitely sell that Cardano and move it somewhere else, because then today's a great day to go sell your Cardano. But the dude did own Cardano, and we're just a random guy, basically.
I mean, to me, this is just so Well, okay. First, let's talk about two things. First, let's talk about stabilizing Bitcoin, stabilizing at the top of the range and then selling off. Your kind of like technical call, and then let's talk about what this means for crypto. So you've said many times on the podcast that Bitcoin rarely stabilizes on the highs, and then well, like
Like I'd go so far as to say it never does. I mean, the framework that I always work off of is the value and momentum framework, which I've sort of I've mentioned this a lot, so I don't want to bore people with the details. But basically, we needed to find we needed people to find value in Bitcoin again, and I think we found it. People view sub 80 as extreme value on Bitcoin, which is why we didn't spend any time really below sub 80. 95, like that small tiny range that we were trading in, that 95 to 98 is not value for people, right? And there was zero momentum, so there was no reason to buy it, which allowed a lot of which basically allowed sellers to gain the advantage, because there's not a lot of new money that's going to come in and bid it in that particular area, because it's not sexy from a value perspective. And when you're going sideways, there's definitely no momentum. So people, once Bitcoin goes into wait and see mode, what matters more is whether people are over invested or under invested in the asset, right? So you can think of it like post FTX, we went into wait and see mode for a long time. We traded sideways, but people were radically underinvested in the asset, and so it went higher after. Now people were, we were in wait and see mode. Let's see what happens. But people were radically overinvested in the asset. We're at the highs. Like
that's where I want to like humbly push back on you. People like us were overinvested, but people like
new money. But this goes back to the original. But new money wasn't coming in, and that's why we sold off, right?
Well, in hindsight, it seems so, yes. But at the time, you wouldn't.
I was making this argument at the time.
Okay, like right.
I was making that argument that there's there and just to go back, like think of the framework. There was no momentum and there was no value. Therefore,
no momentum. Like, you deserve your credit where credit is due. Maybe we're just talking about different time frames here, because I've been pretty bullish since late 2022, but I definitely thought that while people like us were over allocated, a new $1 trillion or 10 or $50 trillion wallet was underinvested. Now, I just think that, and like, probably will buy. Like, 95, put it this way: if they were interested in buying before the announcement of an official federal United States strategic crypto reserve, they're going to be even more interested after, right? Like if Uncle Sam is doing it, they're not going to get sued for doing it.
But what I'm trying to say is that there is, and currently I think this statement holds true. Like there is nobody that's interested in buying Bitcoin above $95,000. Like people are just not interested in buying it at that price outside of news.
I bet you if Bitcoin traded up to 125 on momentum, there would be buyers coming out of the woodwork because of the momentum.
But I mean, sure, but that's like, that's not really an argument, right? It's like if it goes to 125, then by definition, there've already been a ton of buyers that have been buying it in the market. And what we're trying to talk about is this going to get, like, where is this going to go, right?
Basically what you're saying is we need a catalyst to push us through to that next momentum level that brings out the momentum buyers. And
so
is that appropriate?
Yes. There are two things that I'm trying to articulate here. And they're the two different paths that we need to take in order to go higher. Ceteris paribus, unless on Friday, the crypto summit, it's announced that the US is allocating tens of billions of dollars to Bitcoin, I don't think we go higher.
I agree.
That's kind of the bar. Like the bar is, are we announcing on Friday, or like, are we getting more details over the next 7 days that the US is going to be allocating tens of billions of dollars? If the crypto strategic reserve turns out to be 500 million, we're back in the 80s pretty quickly.
They'd be so dumb to announce that, because then they just worsen their fill price by a lot. We're gonna buy a ton of stuff tomorrow. You go out there and click all you want tonight. It would be so crazy. I wonder if they're that stupid. I mean, the messaging has been so bad that the answer could be yes, indeed, they are that dumb, or worse, they're so corrupt
But
that
these
like
guys,
they're gonna.
are not. They're not trying to make money
Are you
with
sure?
crypto.
Like
I think that
read a
they're
tweet.
trying to. They're
I read-
trying to like. First of all, let's take a step back. Trump is not trying to make the U.S. government money with this crypto move. Trump is trying to make Trump money and his supporters money. This is my personal take. Whether the U.S. government makes money or loses money on crypto is probably irrelevant to him. It's kind of like, he has this piggy bank thing, this tool called the U.S. government that he can use to go move crypto prices. And he's going to benefit a lot from it, and his constituents are going to benefit a lot from it, and they're going to love him, right, if he manages to send crypto higher. Now, whether the U.S. government ends up making or losing money is probably irrelevant.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
That's at least my take on it. So just to go, sorry, I want to finish my thought here on the paths that we need to take. I've said this before. It's momentum value. Momentum is generated through news. So right now it's going to be generated through, okay, Trump comes out, we're buying a ton, blah, blah, blah. Or we have to find value. And how do you generate value is you don't trade a level for a significant period of time, right? Right now, $85,000 doesn't feel like tremendous value because we just traded there. Now, if we trade above 90,000 for 2 months or a month, and then we trade 85, suddenly it's on sale, right? Suddenly that's a lot more attractive. You need people to normalize just to prices before you can start to assign value. And so right now, what's clear value is below 80. Like, buy below 80 all you want, and I think you're going to be happy in a year. That also means you're probably not going to get it. But I also think that, this 95 is not value. So I think that we end up ping-ponging with, outside of direct news to send us higher. We probably now end up ping-ponging between 85 and 95 for at least a month. That's my take.
Okay. There are a couple of, so that take I agree with. Some other parts of your take in the past I disagree with. Let me just try to articulate it very cleanly and concisely. I agree that participants anchor themselves to the prices that, any asset, particularly crypto, establishes when it trades sideways for a while. So if we trade like roughly 100K for 3 months, that's where participants anchor themselves. Then if you're trading 80K, that looks cheap. If you're trading 120K, you see some profit taking. I agree with you. So yes, participants anchor to ranges that are well established. The part that I disagreed with, is, you did say that it's rare for crypto to just range or trade sideways on the highs and then not have a sell-off. To me, that while I agree with that statement and I think that it's true, I think it's a bit misleading, because basically what you're saying is crypto goes up, crypto, stops going up. It's either going to go up or down. And if it doesn't go up, then it's going to go down. So to me, it's kind of like true by definition.
This episode is brought to you by Kraken OTC, one of crypto's longest running exchanges with over a decade of experience. With Kraken OTC, high net worth individuals and institutional clients get white glove 24/7 trading services for orders over $50,000. You can trade over chat or even access Kraken's self-service automated trading feature to receive executable quotes in seconds. With access to Kraken's fully personalized service, you can guarantee a secure trading experience with deep liquidity and competitive execution. To get in touch, click the link in the show notes or head on over to kraken.com/blockworks. Availability of products may vary by jurisdiction. See legal disclosures for each jurisdiction at kraken.com/legal/disclosures. Crypto trading involves risk of loss and is offered to customers through Payward Interactive. Today's episode is brought to you by CryptoTax Calculator. Make tax season stress-free with over 3,000 integrations to support all of your wallets, exchanges, and on-chain activity. Simplify your crypto taxes by creating an account, importing your wallets and exchanges, then simply review and download your tax report. By using our exclusive discount code BW2025, you can enjoy 30% off all paid plans. This deal expires on the 15th of April. So make sure you hit the link in the show notes to get accurate crypto taxes with no guesswork. Thanks to CryptoTax Calculator for making today's episode possible.
If you trade up and then plateau, of course it's going to go down unless it keeps going up. Is sort of what it means to me, but maybe I'm just not.
Well, no, because I mean, like it helps you try to understand what's going to happen next, right? So it's not just saying if it doesn't go up, then by definition it's going to go down. Before the sell-off, when we were trading $95,000, the big question that everyone had is, where's it going next? Is it going to, is it more likely that we go to 105 from 95, or is it more likely that we go to 85? Like, how do I make my bets, right? And that was a very debated question. And my answer using that framework was, well, we've basically gone sideways in a range from November 21st to February 23rd. That is, 3 months of sideways action. Probably goes down because of that. I'm betting that there's an 80% chance that we're going down and a 20% chance that we're going up, that we're getting, a pretty substantial sell off from the highs. It's more of a statement that, if you do have a range for a substantial period of time, you probably should not be buying that range. In fact, you can probably make money shorting in that range.
I mean, you're proven right this last time, but like, I'm just looking at the course of this Bitcoin bull market. It's hard to deny that Bitcoin took a few breathers and then kept rallying. Not like on the election with a clear catalyst, but like, in 2023. Anyway, I don't want to beleaguer the point. I was just saying it's something where I don't necessarily where I'm not fully on board necessarily. But I do agree that there's a lot of anchoring that goes on. I think your point about how people anchor to recent ranges is super salient. And I guess that sort of leads us nicely into the next topic, which is where does crypto go from here? And what does this stupid Cardano reserve mean for our space? Here's what I think. I think that we're not going to get any real announcements at this crypto summit on Friday. I don't think they're going to announce a specific target amount of buying in the future, because then they'll just get front run, right? Or if they do, you're going to see tremendous graft. I don't know. There was this tweet that came out. So this, I don't know how valid this is, but somebody wrote, it's called the Kobeisi letter. This tweet got, 1 million views. Mm-hmm. 24 hours ago, someone took out 200 million worth of Ethereum and Bitcoin longs on 50x leverage. This meant even a 2% drop in Bitcoin would have liquidated them. And then, shortly thereafter, President Trump announced the U.S. crypto reserve, and these people made out like bandits. Now, the reason why I believe that actually happened, and I don't think it's just fake news, is because this happens all the time in commodities markets. OPEC will give people a heads up when they're going to cut supply, but not everybody. You'll see positions getting taken out at random after hours times when, the sheik calls whoever and gives them the tip. It's not illegal in commodities because commodities aren't securities. And technically neither is Bitcoin or ETH. So, whoever did that probably just got the tip. It's not quite Trump announcing the strategic reserve isn't quite as as guaranteed to move the market as, say, IBM announcing that they're acquiring a smaller publicly traded company is guaranteed to move that smaller publicly traded company's stock. So that's why it's not illegal in commodities, but it's still suspect behavior. And the fact that you're seeing this type of activity means that like they may come out on Friday and make some sort of like front runnable announcement, but it's probably just going to be for a short-term trade. I don't think they'd actually come out and delineate the size and scope of the strategic crypto reserve with actual like numbers of Bitcoin and Cardano and XRP units that are going to get bought, because then the next thing that'll happen is every large pool of capital will just front run them and they'll get a worse fill and they'll cost the American taxpayers hundreds of millions and it'll be, a big fiasco. I just think, maybe there'll be some short-term trade in there for some grifter to take advantage of. Longer term, I think this thing probably leaks back below where it's currently trading right now. Like sentiment in crypto is still terrible. This stupid crypto reserve, it doesn't help sentiment. Crypto people seem pretty pissed off about it. It certainly isn't a green light for institutions beyond, like it's kind of a green light, but they're not going to start buying now, or maybe they will. I don't know. What do you think? I feel like we just sort of like drift back down. This is probably a pop where you sell some super crappy altcoins again. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you on the selling. What I will say is I remember when we talked about the Trump effect on Bitcoin is going to be like the Elon effect on Doge.
Yeah.
That in the beginning, everyone bought Doge because, oh my God, Elon might say something about Doge on Twitter and it might go up. And then now, after Trump kind of adopted Bitcoin as his pet little project, it was, oh, well, there are all these amazing things that Trump can say about Bitcoin. Maybe he'll send it up. That's kind of played out really nicely. And so now that brings me to the next stage of the decay. Like, every time he mentions crypto now, there's going to be some level of decay to it. And so he kind of needs to shit or get off the pot at this point. What I will say is that, and I'm pissed at myself that I didn't think about this, but you can kind of predict the future with these things. Like we knew on February 28th that there was a first ever crypto White House summit coming up the next week. And we also knew that crypto is in the middle of a fucking meltdown. So, at like 80K or 85K, I wish I had the thought, like, there's a pretty high chance that Trump does something to make this summit not look like a total failure. And gotten even more bullish there. Worthwhile basically looking at the White House calendar, I guess. Every time you take out a trade on anything now, probably just look at the White House calendar and try to think to yourself, well, is there any incentive for Trump to help out this trade or not?
I mean, there's a big difference between, you bring up a good point. Like Elon did move Doge for a little while, but there's a big difference between Trump and Elon when it comes to moving markets. Like I have PTSD from trading through Trump 1.0, his first presidency. You do not fade Trump's tweets, Trump's statements about things. Like, yeah, maybe if he doesn't, you said he has to shit or get off the pot. Maybe if it looks like he's getting off the pot, people start to fade it, but Trump will shit. Like I mark my words, he will take the dump.
So,
right?
so then why are you so bearish for the first time ever then?
No, I'm not bearish for the first time ever. I'm saying like, I'm not going to sell a dime worth of crypto. Let me make that clear. What I'm saying is Trump, let's start with what he did to markets last time, and then we'll talk about what he's going to do this time. So Trump, during COVID, when oil was low, he caused the price of oil to spike literally like 40% or 30% in one day. It was like $10 a barrel when it was trading $20 a barrel, by saying that he was going to force OPEC to cut supply, right? That was the most face-ripping move that commodity like will get, period. That was a crazy move for a non-shitcoin, for the world's global energy supply. When prices were high, he was shitting on OPEC every day, telling them that they had to stop the cuts and that he was going to put pressure on them, and then he did. He tweets like he wanted oil in a range, so he would tweet bearish at the top of the range and giga bullish at the bottom of the range. Stock market, he would tweet it up every single chance he got. Record high, it's going higher. We're going to do more Trump tax cuts, Trump bump. Like Trump tweets markets in the direction that they end up going. He's always done that, right? And so, you saw this face ripping crypto rally after he tweeted the strategic crypto reserve. All I'm saying, Avi, is that move has happened. I don't see him tweeting some brand new like giga bullish catalyst on Friday that takes us another $10 higher. I think the tweet was the tweet and it came out today, right? So, I do think that crypto is going higher. I do think that we trade, 150K easy before the end of the year, maybe 200K. I'm still very bullish. If I were a short-term trader, I would probably be like selling Bitcoin here to buy it back at like 87K, but that's just not how I behave. I don't like to do that because I think it's over time too tempting to chop myself up. I'm better at doing longer term trades. I do think that if you're looking to reduce exposure, now would probably like whiff, my least favorite coin of the moment, whiff ripped on this. There's not going to be a strategic whiff reserve, right? Short that one if you're looking to cut notional. That's my point. But yeah, does that make sense to you? Like my general thesis on this?
Yeah, I mean, I get it remains to be seen, I guess, what happens on Friday. I wish I had read the tea leaves better on that particular point, but remains to be seen what happens at the summit. I mean, maybe he has another trick up his sleeve, but I'm fairly certain it's going to require congressional approval to start buying a ton of Bitcoin. So, we also have to wait for that. I mean, like, one of the worst things that could happen, and which is why every single person in crypto, if you're actively trading or you own Bitcoin and you have, you want to be proactive about this, is you have to pay very, very, very close attention to what happens on Friday, because if there's language that says we're really, David Sachs gets up there and he goes, we're really excited to start working on this reserve bill and push it through Congress. I mean, you kind of have to sell a reasonable amount of what you have.
This is more of a bipartisan issue than it was, though, to be completely fair. Like that whatever Armstrong's like crypto lobby is called, they're Democrats that are into this as well.
There are, and I do think that Democrats have started to, they're having a come to Jesus moment with respect to crypto. At least two of the people that I know in the Democratic apparatus have approached me about, potentially writing an op-ed about how Democrats messed up crypto, because both of them realize that crypto came out of the Occupy Wall Street movement in a big way. And that was solid. That was a movement that was solidly Democrat, right? The idea of hating the big banks, if you go back 15 years, was a solidly Democrat ideal. Like, it was purely in the realm of Democrats to have that like mentality around things, which is can't trust these big banks. Can't trust the financial institutions. That was all Democrat back then. And so they had a real opportunity. And that's why, if you look back at like the origin of Ethereum, like a lot of the major players in the Ethereum network, and even today, it's like they still are Democrat. I think Bitcoin always had a little bit more of a libertarian lean, but the Dems could have done well on crypto if they had just played ball instead of tried to kill it. And I think they started to realize that right now. So I do think that they will soften their stance, because it's just not a winning issue for them. It's just really not.
Earlier in today's episode, I mentioned Ledger's latest products, the Stacks and Flex, and I wanted to take a few seconds to tell you more about them. These wallets feature the world's first secure touchscreens, which don't just simplify your digital transactions, but also keep them extremely safe. These wallets are virtually impenetrable to online attacks because they store your private key in a secure offline chip. You can manage more than 5,500 tokens and install up to 100 apps. Choose the most trusted name in hardware wallets and take control of your digital security today at ledger.com, or hit the link in the description of today's episode to check out their latest wallets. This episode is brought to you by Wallet Connect, the connectivity network shaping the future of on-chain UX. From DeFi to NFTs, swaps to staking, Wallet Connect is the backbone of connectivity in the on-chain economy, seamlessly bridging wallets, apps, and blockchains. With over 220 million connections and 35 million users worldwide, Wallet Connect is the place to power your Web3 experience. With the launch of the Wallet Connect token, the network is taking the next step, paving the way for a fully decentralized, permissionless, and community-owned future of connectivity. To learn more, follow Wallet Connect on X and Telegram, or visit walletconnect.network to stay ahead of what's next.
So I love that you brought this up. I'm going to do like a very short tangent and then come back to your point, which I agree with. In 2008, when the Dems were all against the banksters and Barney Frank and, you know, the Volcker rule and all this stuff was like kind of cooking in Washington to rein in the bank's reckless risk taking, I had just lost my job on Wall Street at one of the big banks called Lehman Brothers, the only one that these guys allowed to fail. And I remember just being unemployed, like wandering around downtown one day. I passed Zuccotti Park and saw these people protesting bankers. And I was thinking, like, I hate you. Like, I just lost my job and you're mad at me. You know, my company went bankrupt. Screw you, and screw everybody else who wants to demonize me. And you know, it's funny. I actually haven't felt that annoyed at irrational policy making until Biden and Gary Gensler went ham on crypto for no reason. And I do think that, like, you know, when it's something as partisan as like abortion or gun control, right? You do get these big party line votes. But with crypto, I think a lot of people are looking at, you know, Operation Choke Point 2.0, Elizabeth Warren's anti-crypto army, and it's like, who's gonna die on that hill? Like, who wants to be part of the anti-crypto army? It's like maybe there's like a couple of retirees who are pissed off that they missed the Bitcoin trade, sitting on the golf course like shitting on Bitcoin, you know, just no coiners. But like, not enough people on the anti-crypto side care. To them, it's just like a total nothing burger, whatever. And then on the pro-crypto side, it's just, you know, 50 million American bag holders or more. So like, it just seems so irrational to like think of, it seems so irrational to like be a Washington elected representative policymaker against crypto. You've nothing to gain and everything to lose. And Trump literally just like painted that on the wall during the last election and proved it to everybody. So to me, like, I'm a little bit less worried about things that need to go through Congress than perhaps most. However, I do think that if what they submit to Congress is like, we need to spend $100 million on Cardano, I think they're gonna like, I think it's just going to be stillborn. So I think they have, you know, maybe what we should be looking for on Friday is like, how much have you rethought your plan since the Sunday Truth social post? You know, like, are you really going to lean into this and double down or not? If they're like, it's mostly Bitcoin, don't worry, we're going to have a couple of these tokens because they're top 10 and they're made in America, and you know, we want to incentivize people to make great blockchains in America, and we'll put them in there. Maybe, you know, if it comes out like that, then I think it's okay. I don't think we get a big up catalyst though.
Well, yeah, I mean, one thing's for sure, we're gonna have to be paying attention. One point that is actually kind of, it's kind of nice is that there's been basically zero uptick in OI on this move. Like if you look at futures, one of the highest hit rate reversal signs is you just get a ton of people slamming in on leverage. Kind of looks like this move looks like it was spot driven. Actually, it looks like people were deploying cash into this move, and it's not just a bunch of monkeys buying it on leverage, which is a very good sign for Bitcoin. So I'm torn. I'm torn between thinking that, hey, this is definitely a fade because I don't think that we're getting more good news after this, versus, all right, now actually we're just back in the range, and maybe we'll just go trade 100K.
There's another interpretation, which is like, yes, it could be cash. That could explain the lack of OI increase.
Or another is shorts closed.
Or it could be that, or it could just be like tons and tons of market maker on market maker violence with no real position taking. Just like HFT washing back and forth, because of volatility, which is what they do. They trade big volumes when things get volatile because there are all these little games you can play, arbitraging exchanges versus each other, arbitraging equities versus crypto, mid-frequency signals telling you what's going to happen in 5 to 60 seconds, trading that and then getting out. Like big volume, lots of volume will go through when markets get volatile without a lot of risk getting exchanged sometimes. So maybe I honestly don't know, Avi. I think it could be a lot of really healthy spot buying. It could be like liquidations. It also could be
actually looking at
funding.
Action, looking at funding, it does look like a decent amount of shorts came in on Saturday. One of the biggest hacks in life is just paying attention during the weekends. Like I think it's very easy to clock out, especially if you're looking at this stuff during the week and then just not pay attention over the weekends. But there's so many things that if you look at them over the weekend, you actually gain, and you do that consistently, you just gain a huge edge. I mean, so many things in this market over the last year have happened on the weekend.
I think a lot of people are gambling at their day jobs. Like they're supposed to be doing, like they're on a Zoom call, or they're like supposed to be, doing something professional, and they're just like logged in somewhere, Binance or Coinbase or Kraken, and just like messing around all week. And then the weekend is like their break, It's not like this is I don't think crypto is like a nights and weekends game for most retail degens. I think it's like,
I wonder how many federal workers were slinging crypto during their days.
Oh my God.
Responded to Musk's email. What did you get done this week? Well, I punted on XRP.
Bought some Doge.
God, if I had to write an email, what did I get done this week?
Oh my God. Changed a lot of diapers. That's what I got done. I raised children.
Can I tell you something horrible, Jonah?
And always, Avi.
Whiff actually looks really good.
Why?
I think a lot of people started using it as a short leg. And I think you could actually see a short squeeze from Whiff. It's kind of interesting.
Do you have do you have your OI dashboard up? I don't.
Yeah, I got my OI and funding dashboard, and also it started to outperform BTC.
Are you still using Velo data?
Which is, I do love Velo, but I mean, I just love charting alts against Bitcoin because it really gives you an idea of the relative strength of the asset.
Yeah,
and there are so many alts that look really good against Bitcoin even now. After today's move, that's kind of what I'm, that's what I'm looking for. Is I do like those types of trades because they're just so much easier to manage. I mean, like getting long those AI assets and shorting Bitcoin against them. I did that when Bitcoin was at something like 85, 86K, and then it went down, and they were all actually, outperforming to slight underperforming BTC, but BTC in that time span went down 10%. And I can guarantee you I wouldn't have stayed in those trades if I had done them outright. And then even though after Bitcoin bounced, I mean, they were all up anywhere from 8 to 20% versus Bitcoin. I would have made more money if I had obviously punted them outright, but I would have never in a million years held that position. So it really helps you manage the volatility.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm out of my whip short now. I actually covered most of it during a podcast where you convinced me to do so. It was like that one, it was early Feb when the market nuked in the middle, like while we were recording. I was thinking
that was a fun one.
I was thinking of putting it back on, and
not yet. Do it at like $1.
Yeah, I guess we're a little.
If you can get it like if you can get it like 90 cents to $1, that would be a great short. I think like shorting it here after it's bounced and like looks pretty strong, and actually, it's up in the last 5 days. It's up like every day, basically.
Yeah.
Which tells you if it's doing that when Bitcoin's going down, you probably want to avoid shorting it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's flat to like with BTC is flat over the last, call it 18 hours. Over the last 7 days, it's up. That's up like, yeah, pretty solidly. I don't know. You're right. Probably don't want to short into a rally like this. I think, honestly, Avi, I think that this market is just going to be chaos for a while. I do not think that this is a good trading market for click traders with like a 2 to 7 day horizon. I'm feeling as unconvicted in the short term as I could possibly be, as convicted in the long term as I could possibly be, and then the medium term, like, let's call it a 6 to 8 out of 10 conviction that we're probably higher by 6 months from here. So I don't know. Like, I just like, aside from maybe some tactical opportunities, like news comes out and coins just haven't moved yet, and you can like click trade news and slower, less relevant, maybe on-chain assets. Aside from stuff like that, I don't think this is a market where you want to start like really churning a lot of volume. I think it's bad. I think it's bad for that. I think we'll be in a much healthier environment for that once we get a bit more clarity on what these guys have planned for crypto, but the implications haven't really priced into some of the longer tail assets.
Well, maybe we need to do another emergency. Well, we'll do another pod on Friday to talk about this. That we maybe can we figure out a live stream?
You know what? How about this?
Is going on.
Let's just make a rule that if it's an emergency pod, we can just do a live stream. Like if something crazy happens, we could do a live stream during the crypto conference.
Maybe we'll do that.
Maybe we need to apply for a White House press pass. Like I know they're letting in all sorts of like scammy news organizations and kicking out like ABC and CBS. We could say like,
why not? We'll get the 1000X podcast.
We're crypto news.
I think probably all we have to do is spend the next 4 episodes just saying really nice things about Donald Trump.
He's awesome.
We could probably get a press pass. I love Donald Trump.
Is your parents' house? Is your parents' house near the White House? Like, could I crash there if we do a DC trip?
It actually is. It's like a 15-minute walk from the White House. So
that's great.
Sure.
I would have suggested that I was gonna like stay at a nice hotel, but with Bitcoin down here.
No. Just crash in the parents' basement. We'll go walk over to the White House.
I'll sleep in the laundry room.
All right, Jonah.
I don't care. All right, Avi. Good.
This was good. I'll see you on Friday.
See you on Friday. This is a fun one.